Hello, Outperforming, Scott Well. I hope you're having a great day. Our Outperforming movement's about performing under pressure. And Super Bowl coming up this weekend, where hundreds of millions of people are going to watch this thing. It's one of my favorite times of the year. And I get asked the question a lot, like, how do these high achievers, how do these outperformers really perform their best under the brightest lights, the biggest stage, and under the most intense pressure? And there are very simple things that they do that allow themselves to do that. And the way that I think this relates to all of us is, you know what? Are we going to be performing on TV in front of hundreds of millions of people where our every move is going to be critiqued and evaluated? Our performance is going to be judged? Well, no, probably not. But chances are, whatever you do professionally, if you're out there, you're getting after it, you're getting comfortable being uncomfortable, you probably feel a certain amount of pressure from time to time to deliver some type of result in whatever it is that you're doing. And that's how you can take the application of what these athletes do and what they go through under that intense pressure and apply it to improving your own personal performance. And there are 4 things that you can do. So the first part of it is to look at your interpretation of nerves. And I use the word interpretation very specifically because if you've ever heard an athlete say, like, well, I just don't get nervous, that's not the truth. Every single athlete playing in the Super Bowl is going to be nervous. I guarantee it. But we are what we tell ourselves, and the meaning that we attach to nerves is very different with outperformers versus the norm. Because outperformers will actually look at that nerves and kind of those butterflies and that charge and that nervous energy. They will look at that as something that's actually going to facilitate their performance, instead of the norm is going to look at it as something like, oh, well, I shouldn't be this nervous. This is not a good thing. And they're going to look at it as something that's debilitating to their performance. So it's so key to actually make this distinction. And it's not at all how we're taught. We think that we're supposed to be just like cool as ice and, we're not supposed to get nervous because that's not what top performers do. And stop telling yourself that. All you have to do is to tell yourself, if you are feeling a certain amount of pressure and a certain amount of nerves, that like, you know what, like, this is really good how nervous I am. Like, I'm really psyched to be this nervous. And you kind of feel a little goofy and you kind of feel like an idiot when you tell yourself that because it's so counterintuitive to the way that we normally look at it. But it is absolutely key when you look at it and you just look at that nervous energy as being something that, you know what, we only get nervous about things that we care about and the things that we genuinely want to go well. If you don't care about something, you're not going to be nervous. So to attach the meaning of nerves with, you know what, this is really going to help me perform my best and this is a good thing I'm so nervous, will absolutely help your performance. So that's number 1. And the second one is to trust your preparation. Sometimes just say dance with the person that you brought to the party. But the basic progression here is preparation breeds familiarity, and familiarity breeds confidence, and confidence breeds success. Like, that's the 4-part progression. And at the end of the day, the will to win means nothing without the will to prepare. So if you're feeling a lot of pressure to, have a big closeout, deliver on this presentation, ink this deal, roll out this new company initiative, whatever it happens to be, the more that you can have disciplined preparation towards that, the more that it's going to help kind of breed that familiarity that you need, the more that familiarity is going to translate into confidence, and the confidence being the one prerequisite that we always need to outperform and to be successful, the more that it's going to lead to the result that you ultimately want. So you gotta have that disciplined preparation. Most people, especially when we talk about things like the Super Bowl, we only see guys playing on Sunday, and we're talking about the NFL. Most people have no idea how much preparation goes into getting people ready for Sunday in terms of film study and rehearsal and practice and everything else that gets you ready, that by the time, you're under the brightest lights on the biggest stage, you're really just going out there and you're just executing all of that preparation that you've had beforehand. And that's something I've noticed from every single outperformers. They're always the most well prepared going into whatever pressure situation they have. So that's the second one. Third one is, I always just say, control the controllables. Huge deal. And the one thing that I've learned, not only working with athletes, but working with top business leaders, is that if you are feeling any amount of pressure in your life, it is almost always because You are feeling the need to deliver an outcome or a specific result of which you only have indirect control over. It's just the way that it is. And we have to actually be able to step back from those outcomes and from those results and to say, what do I genuinely have control of over this? You know what? And the things that we do have control over, our attitude, our activities, our effort that we put in, certainly our preparation, like I just mentioned. But if an athlete goes out there on Sunday and is just thinking, you know what, gotta win the Super Bowl, gotta win the Super Bowl, gotta make the kick, gotta throw a touchdown. Like, if that's what you're constantly thinking in terms of results, the same way if you're thinking, you know what, gotta make this deal, gotta have a good closeout, gotta deliver this result, gotta hit these numbers. Like, if you're constantly telling yourself that, I'm telling you right now, you're only going to feel more pressure. So what you actually have to do is back that off into not only the attitude part of it, but to really look at the actions. And this is what I mean when I talk about the process, is to really think about, okay, if you're going to win the Super Bowl, if you're going to, figuratively speaking, make the kick, throw the touchdown pass, well, what are the things that actually you have control over that if you do these things and do them really well, will most likely lead to that desired result? And it holds true in every area of athletics as well as business and everything else. We have certain processes and we have certain things that, if, you know what, if I go out and if I really execute this in this presentation, it's most likely going to lead to that outcome that I want. And it's going to lead to, you know what, me getting that company's business or whatever it is that you're doing. So hopefully that makes sense. Control the controllables, stop worrying about outcomes. And the last one is, I always just say, script the setbacks. You know what? If you're really trying to perform under pressure, chances are you're going to encounter or meet some type of adversity along the way. And you think about it, you know what? Somebody in the Super Bowl, you throw an interception, you miss a kick, you have a fumble, something like that, where, again, that pressure just gets ratcheted up now because you know hundreds of millions of people are watching you and you just made a mistake. And how do you flip it around and how do you get that back? And this is why scripting the setbacks, it can just be something as simple as a word you say to yourself, or maybe a phrase that you have, whether it's from a favorite quote of yours or something that a mentor or teacher has said to you, or a lyric of a song or whatever it is, but something that helps you recognize that, you know what, instead of getting in your own head and thinking about, I didn't really hit that part of the presentation the way that I wanted to. And under the brightest lights on the biggest stage where you need to still perform under pressure, you have to be able to flip that switch and you have to be able to get it back. You need to have that phrase where after you recognize it's something that you say to yourself that will allow you to switch it back. I just say to myself, you got this. Like, I just remind myself of that constantly. Like, even if I do something wrong in the middle of a speech, you got this, Scott. You're all right. Like, you got this. And flip it around and start it fresh and really turn that switch. Because if you're not able to do that like this, like on the spot, it's going to be very difficult because chances are, you know what, life is a roller coaster. It's not a train ride. So you've got to expect that somewhere in the midst of whatever you're feeling pressure to perform under, whatever activity you're doing, you're probably going to hit a spot where things aren't such smooth sailing. So to think about what you can say to yourself is key. So again, to just recap those 4 things, look at the interpretation and the meaning that you're attaching to nerves. 2, trust your preparation, because at the end of the day, that's going to lead confidence, familiarity, confidence, as well as success. Control the controllables and stop focusing and worrying about the outcomes that you need to deliver and focus on the process and the things that you can control that will lead to that outcome. And then to also script the setbacks and just have something that you're going to say to yourself if you end up making a mistake and you need to get it back. You do those 4 things, I will personally guarantee that you will not only perform your best under the brightest lights on the biggest stage, under the most intense pressure, but you will also outperform the norm. So thanks a lot for being here. Have a great day.